Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Thursday, the 23rd of February. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this bright and breezy February morning by Joshua Barrie. How are we doing, Joshua?
Yeah, good, Derek. Busy day yesterday with a couple of press conferences looking ahead to Sunday's games. So, looking forward to talking about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That was at the players' press conference yesterday. Rangers putting up 3 players ahead of the match on Sunday. We'll touch on some of the big talking points from those interviews shortly. Just a quick word, though, folks. You can see the banner on your screen. We've got, if you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, over 11,500 of you now doing so. So if you want to do that, then you'll never miss a video when you go live if you click the bell. So thank you to each and every one of you for your support, and that's totally free. And if you want to subscribe to the website as well, just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe for all the details. And of course, our big giveaway ended at midnight last night, so one lucky recipient will be receiving a phone call at some point today from Johnny McFarlane, telling them that they've won 2 tickets to the Cup final on Sunday. We had a great response to that, folks. So, good luck to each and every one of you in that draw. Quick word as well for our sponsors, Seneca Hair Restoration. You can see the banner on our screen as ever. They're the number one guys to go to if you're looking to reinvent the top of your head, perhaps, and restore if you have some lost self-confidence, as they put it. But I put the links to all their social media channels and their website in the description box, as always. A quick word as well, folks, that we are in for a treat today, because this is the first of 2 shows we're going to have today. Later on this afternoon, I'm going to be crossing over the pond to speak to Ali Bain over in the good old US of A to talk all things Rangers as he looks ahead to the match on Sunday. It's absolutely huge, of course. Right, Joshua, you were at the Rangers training ground for us yesterday. Now, we'll touch on Borna Barisic's press conference today. However, a big talking point emerged from Fashion Sakala's interview, which will be released a little later on this afternoon, folks. Rangers staggering them that the player interviews. So we had Borna Barisic yesterday. Fashion Sakala will be at some point today. However, Sky released a little snippet from said press conference yesterday that created a bit of noise on social media, Joshua, when he called Celtic the other mob when he was asked a question about the match on Sunday. Got to say, I thought it was good from Fashion. It's good. He's always good value, isn't he? Without divulging too much from the press conference yesterday, Joshua, he's always a joy to speak to.
Yeah, I didn't actually realise he'd said that until after, but. The press conference, which will be out later today, and there'll be a kind of long read interview on the website as well. Well worth your time to watch it and read it, because so much interesting stuff. I won't give too much away, as you say, because it's embargoed, Derek, but so much interesting stuff that I'd encourage people to go and check out. Sakala is one of the best players, I think, to interview, firstly because he looks, he's infectiously kind of happy and just excited to I think, speak about football and play football. You can tell he's in a much, much better place than he was at the start of the season, when it wasn't until, I think it was the 9th game of the season, league season, until he got a start domestically. But yeah, as I said, I actually hadn't realised he'd said that until after. So only in Glasgow would that type of thing maybe pick up as many headlines. But yeah, I'd encourage people to check it out when it does come out, because it's well worth a watch or a read.
Yeah, it was a response to Stevie Clifford's question, so I can just imagine him shoulders bouncing up and down, laughing when he came out with that. But that full press conference comes out later today with regards to Fashion, folks. So you can find out all about that. And as Joshua said, long read piece coming out on the website as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Borna was also up, Joshua, and he was talking about, of course, the match on Sunday. Interestingly, he says they're coming into the match in almost perfect form, which is factually true. Of course, Michael Beale is unbeaten as Rangers manager. He really should have 13 wins to his name had they seen that Old Firm match out. He says that he was asked, are you going into this game in perfect form? Almost perfect if we're looking at when Michael arrived. The way I'm looking at it personally, I'm not looking at who we play, just the opportunity to win a trophy for my team and these fans. He was asked, is this a good chance to show you've closed the gap? You can look at it that way. Maybe it can be a sign that we're on the same level. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking about how we can be better in every game and in training. That's our mentality. And he was asked about the 2019 final. Of course, it said, of course, it's a big regret. Of course, I didn't forget. I remember how we played and lost that game. Of course, that's one motivation, but not the only one. There are a lot more things. Of course, we remember it. And he also was asked about missing, of course, the Scottish Cup final last season. He missed that through injury. He says, it was hard. I was injured and had to watch the boys. You cannot help. It was hard, but I was very happy because we won. I don't want to look too much in the past, but I remember the way we won the game, of course. I want to be part of that. He's usually a man of few words, Borna, Joshua. But what was the big takeaways from that press conference? I thought it was interesting about the 2019 final, of course, looking to exercise those demons. I think we touched on it yesterday. How Rangers never won that game, I'll never know. But yeah, it's obviously in the minds. And not only Borna, Michael Beale was on the coaching staff on that day. So that's a day that he'll look to avenge on Sunday.
Yeah, obviously it is a nice little backstory to the game, because although Celtic's team is vastly different to that day, you could have a good number of players that started for Rangers in 2019 still involved. Obviously, players like Kent and Morelos who missed the penalty that day. The back four that day, as we discussed yesterday, is the same, aside from presuming that Barisic, Tavernier and Goldson start, aside from Helander out and Ben Davies in. This squad have been together for a long time, and again, it's no secret, it's no controversial opinion to say that it still needs refreshing and revitalising. But I think Raskin and Cantwell have started to help that. Beale's obviously restored a lot of confidence, restored the playing identity, all the things he said he'd do when he came back into the club. And you really are talking about a couple of better performances away from an absolutely perfect start, Derek. Because if you'd said to people that Beale was going to win, is it 12 and 13 or 13 and 14? I think it's 13 and 14, with obviously only the Old Firm draw preventing that from being a 100% record. And Barisic is a player who has had more, in recent years, more scars than most probably in Old Firm games. Obviously, you think back to the Old Firm at Parkhead last February or end of January, and then again he conceded a similar goal at the back post. So there'll be a lot of pressure on him at the weekend, and I'm sure that although people he will say that he doesn't want to focus on the past and he wants to look towards the future, if they were able to win that trophy against the same opponent 4 years on, is it 4 years on? 3 years on? That would I'm sure go some way to kind of, as you say, getting over the ghost of that game, because it was something that I think until Rangers win that competition will always be a big talking point, as you say, just because of the nature of that game.
Yeah, most definitely. What do you make it a Borna in the main, Joshua? Because, of course, Ridvan's been injured for some time. God knows when he's going to be back playing again. I hope it's soon. But he's been steady Eddie this season, hasn't he? I mean, there has been a few poor performances, but in the main, I think he's been probably a steady 6 or 7 out of 10 this season. I think he's come back from the World Cup and he looks sharp and in confident mood. Do you have any concerns about him starting this game on Sunday? Is it a bit of scar tissue perhaps from previous Old Firm performances?
We'll find out. Ian King, obviously one of the writers on our site, wrote a piece about that recently, about Barisic and kind of what he's been through. Obviously, he remains in the starting 11. I think his role now suits him a lot more, Derek, because under Van Bronckhorst, he was, you'll see with Beale's team, the midfielders will drop in and progress the ball, and the fullbacks will get high in different ways. At the weekend, you saw Tavernier at points was staying in that right back position. At points, he was the one taking up that role, kind of pinning the opposition defence in between the lines. But with Barisic, I think where his game's limited is if he's pressed by the touchline, because he is so left-footed. he struggles to play the ball inside quickly, or unlike Tavernier, can't maybe run inside the pitch, or like Ridvan. So I think what you've seen a lot under Gio, and the game that sticks out to me is, I think it was the 2-1 win away at Motherwell, where teams were just, the ball was being worked to left back, and Barisic was playing those kind of straight balls over the top, which I don't think you see many teams play, because I don't think they're it's such a gamble. You're kind of putting the ball up the line, putting it up for contention. Whereas I think under Beale now, you're getting what he's best at, which is his crossing ability. I don't think anyone would argue with the fact that he's got the best final ball in the whole division. And if you can get him into positions where he is going to get one-on-one with his man and be able to cross the ball, I think you create a really dangerous situation. The dynamic on the left, I think, is different from the right. It's a lot more fluid on the right, where you see at points Tav will be inside the pitch, like at the weekend, or I think the last trip to Handham, you've seen that with Tillman and Sakala and Tavernier as well, the fluidity of their movement. I think it's different for Barisic. I think he's more always kind of holding the line and holding the width. I think it suits him a lot more, because instead of having to always get the ball into the final third, he's there to cross the ball into it. And at points at the start under Gio, when he was kind of forming that back three, I think it suited him as well, because again, he wasn't receiving the ball all the time by the touchline. Towards the end, I don't think it did. And his assist numbers are always the focus, Derek. Even at the start of the season when he was getting a few, I still didn't think his performances were always a net positive, as I say, because of, I don't think it was his strength to be kind of progressing the ball from deep. But I don't think there's any argument that when you get him crossing the ball in the final third, he's got top class delivery, better than anyone else in the squad. Even I think probably better than his fullback compatriot on the right hand side, Tavernier. So and he gives you a different option to Ridvan, doesn't he? Because if and when he comes and assumes the number one position, which you presume he will do because of the money he's come in for, Barisic can give you a different option to break down the defence by coming on and providing that final ball, which always good to have more variation, isn't it?
Yeah. I hope he has a part to play on Sunday and provides an assist. He's more than capable of it. He expanded on Michael Beale's influence with the written press, folks, and you can find this article on the website. Talking about Michael Beale, says he's brought a lot of good things. The results show everything for now. We are 14 games unbeaten. We have all those wins and a draw. We have changed our style, and his style probably suits us as a team and as players. It certainly suits me. I have more freedom, and I think you can see how the system now suits the players. We train much better, much harder. When you do that, it's much easier to bring that onto the pitch. There is no doubt that in this moment we are in a good way. I think we are enjoying our football. I can only speak for myself. I'm certainly enjoying my football more. I can say that. I am really enjoying it again. And I think he speaks for the majority of the squad under Michael Beale since his return to the club. So let's hope he has a good game on Sunday. I just wanted to touch on this comment because it ties in with the newsletter piece that's on the website this morning. If you've not subscribed or if you've not signed up to the newsletter, folks, what it is, you'll get an opinion piece straight to your email inbox, at least the evening before it appears on the website. It's totally free as well, and we do have some giveaways associated with that also on the horizon. So I urge you to do so. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/email bulletins to sign up for that. But Billy McCulloch says, what was the Joe managers thing all about? They looked delighted. We touched on that yesterday, of course, Joshua, but it ties in with my piece on the website regarding that photograph. It looked uncomfortable and awkward. Of course, it was for the press golf for the match sponsors, but it looked like the scene between Butch and Marcellus and Pulp Fiction. That's what it reminded me of, that famous scene. And I don't think it's one we'll see all too often again, Joshua.
I don't know if it actually, maybe it has happened the last few years. But
I can't recall it happening. Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to cast my mind back to find, perhaps, maybe, I'm struggling. If you know in the comments, let us know, folks, but I'm racking my brains.
There is, obviously, like the photos with the trophy is quite common. But it was when I walked into the press conference, as we said yesterday, and I seen two chairs, I thought it was just going to be each respective press officer with the manager and not them sitting down together. But a funny moment, and I thought the photo was, as you kind of alluded to in the piece, Derek, it was just another funny kind of element of this game and the nature of this game and yeah. Plus, always strange to have a press conference on a Tuesday for a Sunday game. So all in all, it was just a strange experience.
Yeah. David McMillan says, did Ali and Lennon not do it? Well, they certainly got up close and personal at Parkhead on one occasion, but certainly it wasn't. They weren't smiling for the cameras on that occasion, that's for sure. And Blair Lackey says Chip Young used to do a Walter Smith and Tommy Burns interview together. That may well be the case. That sort of rings a bell slightly, Blair. Of course, there's two great football figures, of course, and they were good friends as well. So that may have well been the case. But it was certainly a bizarre photo call the other day between Ange Postecoglou and Michael Beale. It's just a quick show for us this morning, folks. We do have the afternoon show this afternoon. I'll be back with Ali and we'll look in depth at Fashion Sakala's press conference and also look ahead to that match on Sunday. We'll delve into who we think the Rangers team will line up as. Just before you go then, Joshua, I mean, we've touched on Sakala there. I think you've mentioned you would like to see him start on the right-hand side. Are you sticking by that? Would you like to see perhaps Todd Cantwell start there, or Kemar Roofe has been suggested by a few supporters?
Yeah, I think Roofe's unlikely because, as we said yesterday, Derek, he's not started a game since the last Old Firm game at Hampden. So it'd be a surprise if he's thrown in when Sakala started. I think 11 or 12 out of 14 games under Beale. I would like to see Cantwell start, but I think it is one of the two. We're presuming that the structure will be the same with kind of your two midfielders behind one more who's an offensive midfielder. I think if Tillman's fit, that will be the case. Maybe things will change if he doesn't make the game, but fingers crossed he does. I just think Sakala gives you variation. He gives you a goal threat. I know Ken can stretch the game in behind, but I think he always feels more suited to coming towards the ball and getting on it rather than always breaking the line. And also that's the front three that have played together most regularly. So far, I think Beale's focused on getting those relationships right on the pitch. And that goes for the right-hand side as well. Tillman, Sakala and Tavernier, as just mentioned, referencing the game against Aberdeen at the semi-final. To get to this point, I think that was a really impressive game in the first half. I think you saw Cantwell kind of fit into that position against Livingston at the weekend, and you can see how the manager's trying to build up those different pockets of relationships all over the pitch. Raskin, I think it will definitely start. It's a question of who plays next to him. Yeah. If it is Raskin and Kamara, does Lundstrom go in there as well? We've not seen Beale go to a kind of three-man midfield so far, but he's not played in a cup final, so maybe that changes things slightly. But I think that Sakala, given that he is featured so regularly so far, I think he'd expect to be in the starting 11, and then you have the option to bring on a Roofe or a Cantwell, because obviously with so many substitutions, with the fact that you'd be maybe not expecting this game to be decided in 60 minutes, the way a manager uses his bench is very important as well. I was reading this last week, Derek, about a new phenomenon in football where there is substitution coaches, which is an interesting.
Whoa! What?
Yeah,
whoa!
Yeah. Because
coaches.
Because obviously because you have five. Most teams have 5 substitutions now to change a game.
Yeah.
Or the opportunity to. I guess there's different ways teams will do that to kind of strategically look at when to bring on certain players. So yeah, I thought I'd raise that. I don't know if Rangers will appoint one anytime soon, but an interesting aside, because Beale has spoken a lot about how he uses his bench so far, and something that I don't always think of kind of going into a game.
Yeah, you think you've heard it all in football, and then Joshua brings out substitution coaches. So that's certainly an intriguing one. Lots of comments come in when we're back on. Caroline says, what time, Derek? We'll be back on around 2:30 this afternoon. UK time, I know there's a lot of expats out there as well, further afield. But yeah, 2:30 UK time will be on, which is at 9:30 where Ali is over in America. So we hope you can join us then for another big look ahead to the game on Sunday. Big thanks to Joshua as ever. Lots of content coming your way on the website, folks. As I mentioned, there's that piece from myself on there regarding that photo on there. There's the Borna Barisic big talking points from that press conference yesterday. We'll have the pieces Joshua mentioned on fashion Sakala coming your way. I'm hoping to speak to Sasa Papac as well at some point today. So we'll have his views on the last time Rangers won the League Cup, which was way back in 2011. Can't believe it is 12 years already. Unbelievable. But he was part of that winning side. So hopefully get his take not only that occasion, that famous win when Jelavic scored that extra time goal, but also what he makes of Rangers' chances on Sunday. Right, folks, we'll be back a little later on, but until then, we'll speak to you later. Bye for now.